you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you're all here today. You may have heard the phrase that we banter around here sometimes called the cosmic 2x4. Anybody familiar with that? That's kind of the way that the universe has of teaching us a lesson when we're not paying attention. Whack with the cosmic 2x4. I want to put before you an idea that it's entirely possible for us to learn our lessons with either a feather, a little golf cart, or a Mack truck. And if you're like me, sometimes the Mack truck is what's necessary to get my attention. I want to talk to you today about how we can go through life learning these lessons without having to be hit on the back of the head with a 2x4. I know there is a more graceful and easy way to do it, and I want to talk about that. Is that okay with you? Some of you may want to know that yourself. Who knows? Throughout the world, there has been quite often the understanding that there are two simple ways to learn things. One is the really hard way, the really difficult way, where you have to read all the books, make all the affirmations, sign up for all the courses, get all the therapy, and then maybe after a while you get it. Now in India, they recognize that's one way to do it. A much faster way to do it is to have a guru, because then the guru will tell you, don't touch the fire is very hot. And you don't have to go touch the fire because you believe and trust your guru. So you learn your lessons in a much more easy way. Do you see what I mean? Jesus was actually a guru, and he had 12 disciples that he went around teaching all these things to, so they didn't have to learn everything the really hard way. It's pretty fantastic. There's a wonderful unity writer named E.R.A. Crichton that sort of says the same thing for those of us in unity. He said, man arrives at consciousness of truth about anything in one of two ways. By means of the slow, often struggling, always hard way of overcoming the negative and then affirming the positive. Or by choice of the speedy, airborne, no-stress way of acknowledging that through the Christ truth within, the goal of a purified soul is already wholly reached. I want that. I don't want to have to do all those affirmations and reading in books. I know this is actually true. I've seen this myself in life, in action. I've experienced it myself in action. If you've ever gone to a 12-step program, like a program called Alcoholics Anonymous, you will see these two kinds of people. There's the one kind who says, I have to get sober, and they're grabbing onto a chair, and they're moaning and groaning and complaining. Why do I have to come to these stupid meetings? I don't want to be here. The court ordered me, blah, 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 blah. My wife made me come, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like this. Oh, man. And they're like that for about 6 months at least, until the grip begins to loosen and it gets a little better. But I know these other kinds of people because I was one. These other kinds of people that have what we call an epiphany, a moment of realization of the truth. When instantly, even after 20 years of not being able to stop drinking, instantly, the desire is removed. And they're free. And then they go to the meetings like, hi, everybody. I'm so happy to meet everybody. And all those other people are looking at them going, And then you live in this thing they call a pink cloud sometimes, which is a really wonderful place to be, for at least 6 months or so. And life is just great. Well, now, what's the difference? How do you want to do it? You want to do it the easy way? Let me see, who wants to do it the easy way? Oh, and then all the masochists, raise your hand. You want to do it the other way? Okay, okay, we have a program for you. S&M Anonymous. But you'll have to white knuckle your way through it. You realize that? One of the things we know is that life lessons that we learn are going to create change. They are destined to create change. That's why they're there, to teach us things to do differently. And change, for many people, is very fearful. We don't want change. Even though we do want it, we don't want it. Because we're afraid. We're just basically afraid of it. I know people who have been in marriages for years, and they don't even really like each other anymore. And, there could be something better, but, they have a big old house and the pool and all their friends at the yacht club and everything, and they're afraid they may lose all of that, so they stay in that icky place. I'm not going to ask for hands on that. All of that is because we're afraid. We're afraid of what we don't know is coming. We're fearful of the unknown. Fear is false evidence appearing real. It is not real. It is all imagined in our heads, and we think it's there. So how can we get rid of that? How can we begin to deal? What things can we call upon to help us to learn these life lessons with grace and ease and with the feather and not the Mack truck? First thing is love. Are you kidding me? This is a church, of course you're going to say love. No. In the first book of John, I want you to read, there is no room in love for fear. Well-formed love banishes fear. Since fear is crippling, a fearful life, fear of death, fear of judgment, is one not yet fully formed in love. So here's your little fearometer for you. Your loveometer, excuse me. If you're feeling fear, you're a quart low on love. It's not because of that. It's not because of anything out there. If you're feeling fearful about anything, then you're a quart low on love. Now, and there's no judgment about that. Just know that's what it is. And how do you do it? You get more love in your life. The Apostle Paul wrote, but for right now, until completeness, until we're like really, really filled with love, we have three things to do to lead us towards that consummation. Trust steadily in God, hope unswervingly, love extravagantly, and the best of all these is love. One of my favorite sayings is to say to people, love wastefully. And they go, wastefully? Why should I waste my love? Well, why not? Well, because I only have so much to give. I say, oh, I thought you were connected to an inexhaustible source of love that is unconditional and everlasting. Oh, yeah, well, still. They may not deserve it. Ah. You see how that works? You see how that just doesn't feel right? Love wastefully, please. Whether they deserve it or not. Whether they're homeless people in the park, whether they're the rich people who don't seem to care, love wastefully. Course in Miracles says, no one in whom true forgiveness rests can suffer. That's another thing about love. Love insists on forgiveness. You mean I have to forgive to learn life lessons? Absolutely. You can't be dragging all the unfinished lessons you've learned onto the rest of your life. You can't do it. You're not free. I mean, everybody, every advice columnist I ever read, including Dear Abby and what's her name? Ann Landers. What's the worst thing you could possibly do on your first date? Well, spill your guts? Well, especially if there's food. The worst thing you could do on a first date is to talk about your ex. I'm so glad we met. I'm glad we're having dinner because, boy, my boyfriend before would never take me to a place like this. He was so stingy. He was so awful. And then he never would buy me anything. And it would just be awful. And the date's now going to last 3 minutes because you're going on and on because you haven't done forgiveness. So you're going to keep bringing that story. Your history becomes your pathology, and you just keep spilling that illness out everywhere we go. And there's no change. There's no lessons to be learned. Forgiveness is absolutely fundamental in moving forward to learn life's lessons. Something may have been hard, something may have been bad, but we have to forgive it in order to move forward. So love, and the second one is humility. This is really hard for us, especially hard for us guys, because, we like to fix things. You got a problem? I'm going to Home Depot. I'll get it. You got a problem? I'm going to Lowe's. I'll take care of it. That's what we do. Anybody got a problem, and we want to fix it. And we have plans for it. We pay people to make plans for fixing things. That's our ego doing it, because I can do it. I can do it. I can do anything. Let me share with you this prayer that Jesus made, who could do anything, in the Garden of Gethsemane, the night before he knew he was going to be crucified. And he says, Father, remove this cup from me, but please, please, not what I want. What do you want? And at once, an angel from heaven was at his side, strengthening him. Oh man, this is a formula. You got to get this. This is a huge formula. You may know this phrase that Jesus said when he said, not my will, but thine be done. That's the old King James Version. That sound familiar? This is the new version. But please, not what I want. What do you want? Wow. Because we all make plans for everything because we want it to all work out right, and who knows better than us about what's going to work out right for our lives. So we tell God that I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this kind of house, and 4 bedrooms, and God's over there going, oh, that's so beautiful. Because God sees a bigger picture. God sees something different, and God sees things we can't even begin to imagine that are waiting for us to have. And God will always be thinking in God's mind, you're selling yourself short. You want 3 bedrooms? I have a mansion over here. No, I want these 3 bedrooms. I have a mansion over here with servants and everything. It won't cost you nothing. No, I want my 3 bedrooms. See what happens? We cheat ourselves out of that. So moving away from ourselves being in charge, moving away from letting us be the ones to make the decisions, and daring to say to God, what do you want? Now here's what happens. Look what happens. As soon as I make that prayer, look what happens. Angels come. Angels represent the energy of God in love. They come and they strengthen me. You mean it's that simple? Yeah, it's that simple. Instead of the next time we're facing a big life lesson, instead of sitting there trying to figure it out and then spending hours in prayer explaining our detailed plan to God, we say instead, not my will, but thine be done. And then look what happens. What happens? Angels come. Who does it? Okay, raise your hand if you don't want any angels in your life to help you with things. See, I knew I was in the right church. Of course you do. Everybody does. We're all facing these things. I face these challenges. We all do. So instead of having my plan and doing my thing, it's not my will, but thine be done. Angels will come to strengthen me. You've got to remember that. That is like a really key, important thing to give strength in your life for the lessons ahead. 1 Corinthians 13 is probably one of the most widely read scriptures in the world. It's known as the love chapter. If anybody's ever been married, you've probably heard this part. This is just an excerpt from that. This is from the Apostle Paul to the church at Corinth. He says, love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. It trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps on going to the end. We don't yet see things clearly. We're squinting in a fog, peering through a mist, but it won't be long before the weather clears and the sun shines bright. We'll see it all then. See it all as clearly as God sees us, knowing Him as directly as He knows us. So what he's saying essentially is that right now, it's a very polite way of saying, you don't have a clue what's going on. Really. We're looking through a fog, we're looking through a mist. We don't see all the strings and the plans that God has going on. We don't. So it's a little bit audacious for us to try and make the plan instead of saying, I trust your plan. Here's the first thing to do then. Set an intention to learn. Don't go into these challenging situations go, oh no, it's this again, man. How can I get out of it? Because spiritual growth, you understand, is a spiral, not a straight line. We hit something, boom. We go, oh man, we got to work through it. Thank you, God, that's over. I thought I'd never get through that. Those are the horriblest people I work. And then they would come around and go, oh, what? They're back. Oh, man. And you work through it a little bit faster, and then you come out and you nick them again. You go, I thought I was done with this. And then you come around, but eventually you come around and you go, oh, look, there they are. But they can't touch me. I'm done with that. The lessons have to be learned maybe many times, but it's important that we set an intention to learn, because the sooner we learn them, the sooner we won't have to repeat them. Number 2, see everything with love. You might be a way to say for yourself, there is another way to see this with love. What is it? So no matter what is going on, if you have an angry neighbor and then God is saying, God, how can I see this with love? I don't know what to do. And then God says, make an apple pie and take it next door. And you say, are you kidding? I hate this person. She hates me. Take an apple pie and make it next door. Oh, God. So you do it, and then who knows? I will tell you this that I know absolutely for true in this world. Only love transforms. Transforms me and whoever else I'm loving. Only love transforms. So to see things, to feel that love for them is critical. And last, surrender, trust, and faith. There is a bigger plan. And guess who's in charge? God is in charge. So I want you to practice that. So when your bank account looks really low, I want you to say, God is in charge. Try it. God is in charge. Okay, so somebody smashes your car and you got like all kinds of bills to repair. What are you going to say? God is in charge. Okay, and you stub your toe and you're going to have to pull your toenail off. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. What are you going to say? God is in charge. Okay, that's the practice, so you'll get to do that for yourself. And all of these things will lead to peace.
All understanding, that's what Jesus told us, was coming and available for us. When we would stand in that divinity that we are. Leo Buscaglia said, change is the end result of all true learning. As I have moved in my journey of spiritual growth, as I have moved through my adult life, I have loved learning. I am, as anybody who has helped me move can tell the rest of you, I am a committed bibliophile. I love books. They line my office upstairs. They line my studio apartment at home. I will be moving them again shortly, and I enlist your assistance. I love books. I love to be able to mark the lines that matter, to write in the margins, to just hold them and appreciate an author's contribution to my life. But if all I did was ever acquire them and park them on the shelf, what good? What change would occur in my life if I didn't take the book off the shelf and the information off the page and put it in my heart? How would I be able to move forward without carrying all that stuff if I had never read from Charles Fillmore, one of the Unity co-founders, a passage on forgiveness that I put into practice? Do not go to bed at night knowing you have an enemy in the world, said Charles. If I can let the stuff go at the end of the day, how peaceful is my rest at night, and how peaceful do I meet the next day tomorrow? So I have to move from the knowledge to the true learning, which implements the change in my life. Martha Smock was a beloved Unity author and a longtime part of the Silent Unity ministry at our headquarters in Lee's Summit, Missouri. Martha said, peace of mind is not something you achieve when everything is perfect, when things have been worked out happily. Oh, darn. Peace of mind is something that oftentimes precedes the solving of the problem. So when I have something in front of me that's not working smoothly, my plan is to get all the ducks in a row. My plan is to smooth out all those details. And then I'm fighting, and I'm in the struggle, and I'm meeting that Mack truck. Because my plan often is not the easiest way to get through the challenge. If I will center myself into the presence of God within me, that place where I touch wisdom, where I touch guidance, where I touch the peace. Then indeed, all my little ducks herd in a row. All the problems get smoothed out. And even if it doesn't go away, I can still face it from a place of peace in my heart, which is a stronger place to stand in the midst of what goes on in our life. Martha also said, you can choose to be on the side of God and so find an inner peace and tranquility that nothing can disturb. Whatever shows up, because life will happen in the most interesting and colorful ways sometimes. Whatever it is that shows up, if you choose to be on the side of God in your life, then you have love to support you in the face of what is in front of you. You have humility to stand in God's wisdom and plan rather than your own, and you will find peace to rise above and pass through the challenge. You have a reminder of these gifts in your bulletin today, an affirmation, and I invite all of us to work with these powers of moving in our life, to work with these gifts of knowledge that becomes the result of change in our life. I learn my life lessons with love, humility, and peace. Would you claim that in your life today? Yes? Then say it with me if you will. I learn my life lessons with love, humility, and peace. Oh, how about some real energy? Would you do it again with me? I learn my life lessons with love, humility, and peace. And so it is. So hold those thoughts in your heart this moment, will you? Allow yourself to be guided and lifted by the love that is God. Allow your human mind to settle into the mind of God with humility. Allow your heart to open to the peace that passeth all understanding. And we embrace these and come to the God within our being in a moment of silence.